Hey guys, and welcome to another video tutorial for the Platform Vania Engine. So the topic for this video is basically how it works, how to create your own game with this engine, and just generally like what makes it tick. So if we go back to the game, and I'll quickly play the demo, you can see that you have a character that does a lot of stuff. There's enemies, you can load new levels, things hurt you, platforms, there's one-way platforms, there's stuff you can push, and there's basically a lot going on, right? But it's actually just a series of scripts that you can just use in different ways, it's pretty easy once you get into it. One thing that you'll need in every scene is the game manager script. It also has an object pooler script that allows you to generate stuff like bullets and sound effects at runtime. It keeps it very performant, high performance, and that is very useful for keeping your game running fast. So instead of instantiating and destroying objects constantly, we can pool them and run them at runtime. Pretty standard stuff. The game manager deals with loading the different scenes and keeping saving states, like saving and loading variables that you want to keep consistent and persistent. And it also deals with, it's actually used to call sound effects and particle effects. For this system, I have a pretty basic script to generate particle effects wherever you need them, from whoever is generating the particle effects, as well as sound effects. So it's all pooled, it's all preloaded, and it's very fast. The meat of the engine, though, is the character controller, which you add to your character, and it generates box collider and rigid body 2D that controls all the variables for that character. So it controls the animations and it controls everything. And that's all on this guy right here. So that works as the basis for the character controls. And once you have that on there, then you can add all of the ability scripts. So the movement, whether or not you can swing on ropes, dashing, etc., all the abilities. And this controller basically just controls all the abilities. It's constantly canceling other abilities out to allow new abilities to play, and it's pretty self-explanatory right there. It's the brains of the operation. Like I said, it's a physics and raycasting based system. So we have a raycasting component here, which if you look in the scene panel, you can see it's generating raycasts. I'll show you. So yeah, you can see there's some rays being drawn here. That's based on these distances here. But there's always going to be 3 on each side, as well as a supplementary one, unless you want to go in the script and add more, which is pretty easy to do. So that's essentially how it works. There needs to be certain objects for them to register need to be tagged as the proper object. So, for example, for the object pooling, we have these certain objects being pooled and constantly pulled from the pool at runtime to shoot a bullet or to generate a particle. But the objects themselves are tagged. The only way to recognize and pull the proper object from the object pool is to have them as a tag. Oops. Because it'll say, hey, I want an object that's tagged dust particle, and to generate a dust particle when he runs, for example. I'll show it just in case you haven't seen it. See the little dust particles right here being generated? Those are basically being called by their tag, dust particle, and playing. And if you look in the horizontal movement script, the particle tag is the dust particle. That is what's being called from the object pooler to generate at runtime. So The platforms need to be labeled as platforms. There's certain ones that are one-way platforms. Like these guys, you want them to be labeled as one-way platforms and tagged as such. Certain objects, yeah, platforms, they need to be on the proper layers for them to work properly. And I'll go more into detail with that in future videos. The vampires are labeled as NPCs, so that's the way that they're registered, and things aren't being, they're not being considered the player when you're trying to move around. But yeah, that's basically the gist of the Platform Vania engine and how it works and how it moves everything together. It's pretty simple stuff. It's not like anything's no back end stuff. It's all just self-explanatory scripts. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video tutorial. See ya.